Incoming, fire, everybody down. When I was flying F-100s in Vietnam from 1970 to 1971, we had multiple rocket attacks and some other attacks, such as from mortars, or even a case where we accidentally dropped some aerial mines on our own airfield. I'll cover the rocket attacks in this first incoming number 1 video, and the other incidents in incoming number 2. Phan Rang Air Base is on the southeast coast of Vietnam, a very good location from where our fighters could cover all of South Vietnam and way into Cambodia. Primary fighter was the F-100. Here you can see one taxiing out with a typical load of 400 or 500-pound bombs. You can see its big drop tanks, and it had 4 20mm cannons under the nose. In the background you can see our protection against rocket attacks. There's the steel blast walls, and behind them the reinforced concrete shelters that we put our fighters in. Phan Rang was on a rather pleasant position on the coast. The Vietnamese called it Happy Valley. Here we could get our supplies in, and you can see the many concrete shelters for our 4 squadrons of F-100s and see the control tower. Looking inland, you can see the main housing area with our base exchange, our post office, and the base laundry you'll hear about more later. In the distance is our command center. I lived in one of those barracks. We called it a hooch. I had a bed, a desk, a lamp, a chair, and a closet. My hooch had a blast wall around it, which would protect me from shrapnel if I was in bed or down on the floor. In the background you can see the dark mountains where the Viet Cong could set up their rockets and fire down upon us. The Viet Cong's favorite weapon was a rocket that weighed about 100 pounds. It could be split into 2 pieces. One man would carry the rocket motor, and the other could carry the warhead. It could be assembled on site and set up with a bipod of bamboo sticks to hold it up and pointed generally in the direction of the base. They had a range of about 1 mile and were very inaccurate. They could land just about anywhere. The rocket launch caused a cloud of smoke and debris. We had a South Korean artillery unit with us, and they would keep an eye out for signs of a rocket launch. They would promptly fire artillery back at the spot. To avoid our artillery, the Viet Cong usually would set a timer on the rockets, so they would fire after the VC had left the area and were no longer in danger from our counter battery fire. In November of 1970, I was in my hooch at my desk when I heard an explosion, followed immediately by the air raid warning siren. I took cover, and in a few minutes the all clear was blown, and I went out to investigate what had happened. At the edge of the road at our shopping center, I found a small crater where the rocket had hit. The crater was small and unimpressive. I expected much more from the 122 millimeter rocket. But as I looked around, I saw that the shrapnel had hit many buildings. The base laundry was not far from the impact point, and in this photo taken several weeks later, you can see the many white patches on the side of the building where the shrapnel had gone in. I heard that the shrapnel had wrecked all our washing machines in the laundry, but that nobody had been hurt by the shrapnel. I heard we had one casualty from the incident, though. A sergeant in a pickup truck had been driving near the laundry, and he either heard or saw the rocket coming in, and he dove out of the truck to get down so fast that he broke his leg jumping out of the truck. After sunset on the night of the attack, I went and stood in the little bomb crater and looked around at all the buildings around me. The buildings were all lit from the people being in them and having their lights on, and I was astounded by the little bits of light showing from all the buildings, showing where the shrapnel had gone in. The small rocket crater, but the hundreds of shrapnel holes in the buildings around showed the tremendous importance of getting down when a rocket is coming in. The shrapnel effects on the buildings made me think of our own bombs, where if we're after troops in the open, particularly in marshy areas, we put a 3-foot fuse extender, they call it. It's a little pipe with a fuse on the very end of it, on the front of our bombs, so that the bomb explodes 3 feet in the air and gives a slight downward trajectory of the blast, so the shrapnel goes after the troops that may be lying down. If we were after troops that were dug in or may be in fortified bunkers, we would not use a fuse extender, but would use a 0.025 second delay fuse on the front of our bombs, so it would dig a bigger crater and go after bunkers that may be down below. I'll tell about more attacks in my next video.